Hey guys, welcome back to the exciting episode of Yomo. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast, and today reflection 355. I don't
Pen
know what the book
away.
is.
The book is Flow, the
Ah,
psychology of human performance by
something we really need right
highly
now.
yeah he died recently.
Oh, really?
I always forget how to pronounce. It's like
Mihaly? Mihaly?
Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, I think something like that.
What?
This guy
Csikszentmihalyi
is
Mihaly. I
he,
don't
he's this
know. We are
dude is
butchering his name.
uh well he just passed away, I think, maybe like in the past couple of years actually. This guy is like probably as legendary of a psychologist slash, you know, um like a Daniel Kahneman almost. Like this
Mm,
guy is for what his field is, he is the source code, the source material that like a lot of people, refer back to him.
reference. Uh-huh.
Like so like Thinking Fast and Slow or whatever, when people bring that up constantly in other books, like it's always about, it goes back to like that kind of book. And this book and this concept from this psychologist, is really like where a lot of this stuff comes from. He was like the world renowned expert on flow state, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't, I mean, you know what flow state is, but I guess for anybody that's listening to this, flow state is, I guess in my own words, I'll say, it's that it's that feeling of, that experience where you get kind of into the zone when you're doing a skill or an activity that is engaging to you, that is a beaver must dam activity, right? That is something that you love to do, that you have the skills to do it, and that you are doing it at a level that is challenging, but not like super duper challenging where you're like, I just can't get it. If you're trying to like play the piano or something like that, and you're just not good at it, and you don't know how to do a certain technique or whatever, and you're just screwing up. Or I guess I'll relate it to tennis, right? If I'm trying to hit a slice backhand drop shot, while on a run or whatever, I don't have the skill sets for it, right? So like I don't get into that flow state. I need to go spend a whole lot of hours training my elephant to get into to build
Mm-hmm.
up that skill in order for that to be able to function in a flow state where it's just on automatic almost, right? Where my elephant just like knows what it's doing, right? Hitting a forehand on the run, like that's flow state for me, right? I could do that 150 times in a row, and probably, hit 140 of them in or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like my point being is like flow state to me is when you're doing an activity that is a beaver must dam activity of something that you love, with people you love to do it with, in the environments you love to do it in, and it meets your skill level, just but just a little bit challenging, right? Where you're
Mm-hmm.
pushing yourself. You don't want it to be too easy, because too easy is boring, but like, too hard is too frustrating, where you can't, let your elephant be your elephant. This is like elephant be your elephant zone. I don't know. Is that, do you have a different definition? How do you define flow state?
Well, I define flow state because, like you say, it has so many variables and it's very dynamic. What I define flow state is that when you're doing something that you are engaged in it so much that you're undistracted. An example could be I'm playing a Madden game, like a video control Madden, right? I'm in it. My wife would be calling me from the kitchen. I would not hear her. My
Right.
kid would be crying. I would not hear. The dog would be like doing whatever. I would not hear. If the train come by, I would not hear because I'm so engaged in the activity, like playing.
Yes.
And that comes from the ability for you, like you say, the ability for you to be really focus on something. You need some skills, but at the same time, it's not too challenging that you frustrate. It's not too easy
Easy to
that you
get
get
bored. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's boring, but you get to the flow state is essentially you are surrounded yourself in only a singular activity, whatever that is. You can play games, you can play poker, you can do whatever, and you completely ignore everything else, and you so engage in that particular activity. That is a flow state. However, you get there, like you describing a definition of what a flow state can get you into, but a flow state and an experience is that of a experience where you are doing something. Like I say, the reason why I'm saying games is most people can relate to games is when they go into this like the role playing game, the massive multiplayer role playing game. You go
Right.
in there and you fighting the boss,
Yeah,
whatever.
you're like
You
immersed.
you immerse yourself into that thing, and you are not easily distracted, right? The only way to get me out of it, I mean, you have to go
probably
physically and
slap me.
smack me over the
Yeah,
face and say,
right.
"Hey." And usually my wife does that sometimes, and we smack. Say, "Hey, I call you like 10 times, but I didn't answer. I didn't hear you. What do you mean you didn't hear me? I
I,
yelled at you,
I,
and everybody was looking around, and everybody like they put their hands on their hips and they say, "What the fuck are you trying to do?"
right.
That is a flow state. So if
That's
you can
exactly
get
what it
into
is.
that, regardless what you do, I don't care what it is. It could be swimming, it could be tennis, could be chess, it could be a video game. Like I say, I'm very immersed into the football game, Madden game, Madden, NFL, whatever. Right?
Right.
Those are my games, and when I'm in it, when I'm playing a game, and especially I'm in a 2 minute warning.
Right.
That's when I'm trying to win, and I'm behind. Right? I am undistracted.
Yes.
I cannot be distracted, right? And if you distract my flow state, I'll be pissed.
Yeah. Right. I think you just nailed it. That's exactly what flow state is, right? Like, and I think the value of flow state is it's like a magical experience. Like,
It
time
is because your
goes.
experience of that activity, it's so, I don't know. It's like some kind of a chemical that is released. It makes you feel so good,
It does. Yeah. I mean,
right? You
it's
say
like magic. I mean,
you
it really
when you
is.
get
And
out of it, you're like, "Phew, that was intense, but
that was awesome.
it
I
was
loved it.
awesome, right?"
You
It's like
feel
a thrill. It's
fulfilled.
almost like a thrill, but
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying is that is what you're looking for. So try
Yes.
to get into that, and then you can backtrack and figure out how you get into that flow state.
Right.
But you have
Yeah.
to know what a flow state is before you can identify it and to get into it. Then you can say, well, backtrack. What kind of thing they need to do? What kind of variable I need to tweak, and what value I need to what lever I need to push for me to get into that flow state. And flow
It's
state to me, that's what you're
magical.
looking for. And
It is. I
imagine
mean,
if you can get into that flow state almost like
every
on
day.
a regular basis, your life as you remember your experience will have a very very positive aspect, a positive outlook on life, and your life is going to be good, right? And to me,
Agreed.
in life, like I said, life is meant to enjoy, because whether or not you have money or you don't have money, you can still enjoy. But if you have $1 billion but you're miserable, right? Money isn't going to give you the joy. That is the flow state that gives you joy.
It is 100%. And it's also, so this is actually perfectly in line with the reflection that I wrote that, because I agree with you 100% on this, right? I think this is a great time to revisit a quote that I say often. That's probably one of my favorite quotes at this point in time, which is monotony collapses time, novelty unfolds it, right? Like
Mhm.
when you're in a flow state, it's always a novel experience. I don't know why. That's one of the things I think that needs to be about, it's a new experience, but an old experience at the same time. Like when I'm playing tennis, it's a new, like when you're playing Madden, it's a new 2 minute warning, but it's a game that you know very, very well and you know how to go figure out how to do it, right? But it's a new experience. When I'm playing, like, how many times in the summer when I'm out playing pickleball and I'm like, I forget that it's 8:30, it's
Mhm.
8:20, it's 8:29, and I'm like, oh fuck, like,
Yes.
I gotta text Drew and like let him know because I'm gonna miss our I'm gonna be late to our call or something like that. And it's not because it's intentional, it's because I'm that engaged in an
Because
activity that's an old
that the
activity,
other
but a new
activity, the
activity.
other part of your brain isn't registering, so you don't remember the time. So time is not
I'm
there. You
I'm in
you
another world. Like, I mean,
exactly,
literally, you're in another,
i.e.
existence,
flow
right? Like,
state.
and time feels like 3 hours feels like 20 minutes, or 5 minutes. Like, I mean, it's like it just compresses time so much because of flow state is that great mixture of novelty meets familiarity, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, and it's just a beautiful experience, right? So this is what this reflection is about, is the magic of flow, right? So this all goes back to I'll kind of spoil the whole reflection of this is what living for two is for me, right? This is what I figured out on this journey of the Your Magical Learning journey is how important flow is to my life, not only because of all the things that you and I are describing, but for me, it's when you fully get to bring all your values to life, and then that's when I know that I'm living the life that I'm supposed to live and doing the stuff that I'm supposed to do, and that's when I feel most connected to my daughter that's no longer here. And I know that I'm honoring my promise that I made to her, and I know that I'm, able to connect with her again because I'm being the best human that I can be, right? Like, and I'm experiencing all the great things that it is to experience in humanity, and I think that's what flow state is like when you get to do things that you love to do that truly are fulfilling and rewarding for you, and you get to experience all the great things about being a human, and time just kind of almost stands still, and like and
Right. I
it's
mean,
and it's a
this is the
really
reason why when you play poker, you go home at 7 a.m. because you think, well,
I don't
I
even
only
know it
sit
was
there
7
for
a.m.
like 2 hours, and then suddenly it's been like 10 hours. You sit there from morning until the next morning. That's 24 hours.
Have you
That's
ever
the
taken
reason
an
why
8-hour flight?
you. I have, yeah.
How far is the flight from Vietnam to US?
Mm, by distance and by actual time, it's around 13, 14 hours.
13, 14 hours, right?
Mhm.
So how torturous is that 13 to 14-hour flight?
Very, 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 very long.
Right. Now, if I asked you to go code for 14 hours, you know, how torturous is that?
it's it's like I don't have enough time. Give me more time.
Exactly.
I
Like,
mean, this is what I'm saying is back in the day when I was programming stuff, like I would have stacks of Red Bull and 5 hour energy in my corner. I'm talking about like, and you know how they put those cases, like cases and cases. I would have the cases stacked almost to my ceiling. And that's a lot of Red Bull. That's a
that's a
lot of
lot.
5 hour energy, and I do
Yeah.
that because I'm coding like through the like basically I sit there probably like a day and a half, like night, but from morning and night and to the next day until I couldn't take it anymore, so I had to go sleep,
Right.
right?
You just
So it's like
collapsed, I'm sure. Your body
basically
just said,
you
I can't do
you do
it. Yeah.
whenever you go to bed, you completely like
Yep.
knocked out. But that's what I'm saying is when you are in that zone, time it's essentially being compressed, and then outside of that, it's been a long time, right?
Right.
It's a long time. It's like you say, it's like 24 hours or 30 hours, and it seems like, hey, I still need to finish. There's certain features that still not complete. There's certain thing I need to still wrap up. There's certain thing I need to refactor and clean it up, make it look more polished, blah blah, right? It's just like, hey, there's more things, and you don't watch the clock, and you think, hey,
Just in it.
why the actual time is so long. I only spend like 2 minutes typing, and certainly I look it up, it's 2 hours. Versus on the other side, when you have something that is boring, right?
And you
1 minute
hate.
seems like an eternity.
It seems forever. Like, I mean, so whenever like the going back to like the pickleball sessions in the summertime when I would like completely just I'd be down there for 3 4 hours and completely space out, that you and I were having this conversation that we meet every single night, that we've done this for years and years and years and
Yep.
years and years, and I would completely forget. And this is like ingrained into me. This is a habit at this point in time. Well, if you ask me, that's about the equivalent distance of a time when it takes to drive from Indianapolis to Chicago. Like,
Mhm.
I fucking want to blow my brains out every goddamn time that I have to drive. I mean, I used to get like panic attacks. I mean, no joke. I used to like I would be like, oh my God, I got to drive on 65. Like my eyes start to fall asleep. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna,
I dreaded
like
driving for more than 2 hours. I
I can't.
dreaded it.
It's a fight. It's just a pure fight. Like, I mean, and like flow is the opposite of a fight. It is like the easiest thing in the world. Like, I mean, I don't feel pain. Like, I mean, I'm running around, I'm doing hard things, but like I don't feel pain. Like my back doesn't hurt. It doesn't
I
hurt
mean,
until
this
I
is what I'm
stop.
saying is
Like
when you play the games, right? The thing is, back in my younger days in college, like I would play games like for example, the Diablo game. I beat that game in about, I think, about 5 days, right? 5 days. The whole game in about 5 days. But I sit there from morning to night,
right.
morning to night. I sleep very little, and the thing is, you don't feel hungry, you don't feel thirsty. I mean, it's like I can go sit there for a long time without going to the restroom. I mean,
Yep.
I was holding that, so all the bodily pain you have, it
Yep.
doesn't register.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
All of your like, hey, I know that I have to do this and do that. You completely forget it. It never registers. That alarm never comes up in your head.
Yep.
That is what a flow state means. Whenever
That's
you
that.
get to it, it's basically you are just inside of that bubble.
It's like a portal. It's like a portal to a different universe because you know how you were just saying something that was really interesting about hunger, right? Like, you've talked to me about this a lot because you do a lot of fasting, right? And you're
Mhm.
like, look, you know I mean, hunger is really just a, mental thing, right? And what you just said
It is.
was was the truth. I mean, like I
You
could
want to
absolutely
fast? You get into a flow state. You
the new
fast.
flow
I mean,
state. Yeah, right.
without processing. Wow, it's been 3 days. I haven't eaten anything. Shit.
It reminds me of that book, The Fifth Vitals, The Fifth Vital by God, what's that? Mike Matchlick or whatever, the guy that
Hmm.
the YouTuber, the guy that does stuff with Logan Paul or whatever. He the reflection that I wrote for that one was always because he was an addict, right? He was like a
Hmm.
hardcore, opioid addict, right? And like one of his lessons that he learned that I took from his book that and his life experience was always stay busy, but busy with the right stuff, right? Because he was busy being a drug addict, and like that consumed every bit of his waking moment, memory, and everything that did, and I mean, you look at like drug addicts, they get so skinny too because that's all they do. That's all they can think about. It's all they're
Because
in a flow state all day
they in
long,
a
just trying to
flow
find
state.
drugs.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
so if you're always staying busy but busy with the right shit, and then like
Right.
time will just time will just melt away. I
I
mean,
mean, you remember the days when you were playing poker? How much did you eat?
I never ate. I mean,
Exactly. My point
like,
is, you don't
I don't,
remember that you're hungry. You don't feel you're hungry.
actually, if anything, it was like, it was the worst thing ever to stop to go eat because I was like, I'm not even
Yes, you don't
hungry.
want to because you're
Right,
disrupting the flow state. You don't
right,
want
yeah.
to,
It,
right?
it
I
it
mean,
actually made me want to puke. Like,
my mother keep yelling at me, say, "Get off the game and go eat." I mean, and she would have like these meal, and she would put a plate over it, and it's cold food. And it's like you are fucking 6 hours late to lunch.
yep. I, dude,
It's like might as well eat dinner. I mean, that's what I remember when my mother was yelling at me for. It's like I'm like that.
there's people all the time that always that say all the time like, oh, I forgot to eat today, and I'm like, how do you forget to eat, like, and
Exactly.
that's
Now you know.
exactly what this is. Like, I mean, and like right now I've been so busy with all the stuff going on with the pickleball build out, like I actually have been forcing myself to eat my normal like breakfast, lunch.
Hmm.
I'm not hungry. Like I'm like, oh, I got like 500 things to do and I got to go do this, I got to go do that. Like I'm kind of in a flow state the opposite way. Like this is like there is a bad flow state too, right? Of going uphill. Like you could be in an uphill flow state. This is like the
Yeah,
dude.
but that's what I'm saying is, you have to define what a flow state for you is, and you
Right.
have to kind of experience because the flow state that we want to bring forth is a flow state of positivity.
Right.
You want that, and not only that you want that because you yearn for it. Like it's like an addiction, but it's a
It is.
healthy addiction, right?
But
Because
always
you
be
you
busy, but
you
busy with the right
you're
things.
you're addicting to something that is good for you, but it's
Right.
not like going to hinder your health and make you become mentally unstable or health wise,
Right.
degrading your body
My
ability
heart's
and your
been beating out of
strength.
my fucking chest for like the past 2 weeks. Like, I mean, I can feel it every goddamn
You get
day.
anxiety, you get a
Like, yep,
headache, and
yep,
you don't eat regularly, and those are the negative flow state. Like you
yes.
play like poker, right? If you put poker, there are always that's why there's professional poker because these guys they know, hey, I only play these number of hands and these number of number of hours, and they just get up and they walk out and because I'm done, right?
Right.
They are professional, but for that, but if you get to the point where they do what the body tells them to do at that point, that flow state is affecting you negatively. And
Yep.
so in most cases, when we mention flow state, these are things that we these are things that we need to also to kind of like make a distinction because the flow state is supposed to be something positive.
Running
This is
downhill.
this is what we mean, not the other stuff. So
Right.
there is a modification of quote unquote can it be more flow state? Yes, it could, but at the same time, these is not what we put in the same category as a flow state. So when we say, hey, he's in a flow state, we are saying he's in a good place, not in a bad place.
It's running downhill versus running uphill, right? Like when downhill flow state is exactly where you want to be. Uphill flow state is that's actually really
Right.
bad.
I
Like
mean, like I say,
video,
for me, it's for some reason I have this addictions to football. Whatever reason, I'm just like so mesmerized by it. I'm in it, and especially when I'm playing a man game, and I get to the point where it's like you say, it requires some skills, but it's not impossible because if I were to win by 10 points, 50 points, 100 points, right? The 2 minute doesn't mean anything. But if I'm behind by 7 points or 6 points or 3 points, and I have 2 minutes to be on offense and get the ball to the end zone and win the game, that is where you're in a flow state. You are completely engaged in it. You can't. It's hard for anyone to distract you. It's very, very hard. And so that is what a flow state is. But it's only 2 minutes, right? So you get in flow state for 2 minutes and you get out. It's not a flow state where you're in it forever, ever, and you can't get out of it.
Right.
So there is a flow state where you that's why drug addicts, they get to the point where they go into a flow state and they continue to go there and they go there and they go there, and the moment they get out, they want to get back in. And when we get out, they go back in. And so whenever you do that, what happens is it's unhealthy because your body doesn't get the nourishment it needs, and everything else gets a domino effect from then on. It's just a compound effect out of downward.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm saying is flow state does have negativity, but anyone who's mentioned a flow state is a positive thing. Anybody who's mentioned a flow state as a negative thing, they call it an addiction.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I think that's exactly what you should, because we only ever. It's funny you say that because the word addiction immediately
means negativity.
Negativity. The word flow state immediately positivity, right? So, like you are right. Like it's the end of the other polarity, I guess, of both sides. But hey, don't try to tell me a drug addict is not in a flow state, like because they're fucking in a flow state.
He is in flow state.
They are all consumed.
It's like you call. I'm saying, huh? Somebody said something. Oh, never mind.
They are. That's the only focus they have. That's the only thing that they care about, and that's the only thing that they're worried about. Most of the entire time of the entire day, right? So I think that's a really good point. Like this is fragile, anti-fragile, right? Flow state, addiction, right? I mean, it's the polarity, right? We talked. God, man, all these lessons just keep bubbling back up, because you remember the Kybalion. This is like the third reflection. Like we're on 355. Like book number 3 was the Kybalion that we did, and like that was one of the things that I remember learning from that one that I wrote a reflection about. Is life has polarity and always will swing from one end to the other. So it's your kind of job to try to keep it, not. You don't be in the swings, right? Like try to control where you're at, like control your flow state because they can get out of control. Like I can play pickleball for 6 hours, and like the next day I'm not.
Yeah, and your wife will divorce you.
My wife will divorce me. Next day, my body's gonna hurt like crazy. I'm gonna miss having conversations like this with True. I'm gonna miss the balance, right? So you have to control it, right? So I think that's another important point of all the flow conversation, right? But I think the most important thing for me, and this is the biggest lesson. This is the biggest lesson that I've learned on the Year of Magical Learning from, like for me, like not of this whole journey, but for me. When I am in the flow state, that's when I get to connect with my daughter. That's what I've discovered. That and that is only because of all the things that Amelia got me to just start to move after she passed away. Her energy, her spirit, her whatever, whatever it was, how strong her courage, right, got me to say, what would Amelia do? And that's just take another step and fight, And as I fought, that's what I learned along the way. I was like, oh, okay, great. I'm fighting. This stuff that I'm doing to fight, I like it. And then I've discovered I really like this, for XYZ reasons. And not only that, then I started to figure out, oh, I get to find Amelia again when I do these things as well. And then it became an addiction to me, where it was like, I can't stop doing this stuff now because I can't not have her in my life anymore. And this is my only way to maintain that in my life. So this is the fundamental thing of, if you ever want to know my life, I guess, and ever understand why almost everything that I do these days, it's because of flow state, and not just because of flow state, because I get to connect with my daughter. And like that's everything to me, so like flow state is magical. Flow state is something that that I hope that everybody, finds in their life, and they
And I
understand.
think people will, because that's what
Right.
I'm saying is a beaver must dam, right? When a beaver is building dam, he
They're in the
is
flow
in
state.
a flow state. I mean, he's like,
Right.
well, I don't care what happens. I don't care. I mean, I'm completely in my world.
Right.
So same thing is a lot of people, you have, you are built a certain way by the patterns of your DNA, by your genes that you're given. You are a unique individual that will have a unique I guess alignment with something, right?
Right.
That something once it aligned, you will get flow state. For somebody like me, like I don't know why I like football so much. I mean, I watch football like I can't get enough, right? I watch it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because you're talking about like Thursday night football. You talk, you get the thing is this is only focusing on the professional NFL, right? You get Thursday night, you get Sunday, right? You get like Monday, and then
Is that
Tuesday,
Tuesday?
Wednesday. They don't have, but Tuesday you have. What they do is you have what they call like instant replay and all that. All that.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I watch it over and over again, and you
Right.
analyze it. You are in it. It's like you are like this is why people say you eat, sleep, and whatever football. Life is football. Everything is
Right.
football, and especially in Texas, right? To me,
Yeah,
for some
especially in
reason, I
Texas.
have that bug. Okay, I do have that bug. It's and especially when I'm in it, it's like when I play man, like my wife gets so pissed off at me, she would hide again from me because I would be playing like I would go home like early 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I would play until like 6 o'clock in the morning, and she's sleeping. And say, "What the hell are you doing?" Say, "No, I just need to feed her something." But that's the thing
That's
is
hilarious.
thinking about that is like I am addicted to that thing for whatever reason. It's why am I addicted to basketball? Why am I addicted to tennis? Why am I not addicted to like whatever other thing? Right? I'm just
Right.
addicted to football, like
I don't know.
professional football in general. Right? I
It's a
mean
beaver must dam. That's the point.
I try to stay away from college and stay away from the high school one because if that I don't know what I'm gonna do. You have no time to do anything else. But that's the thing is, because like in addition to the games you watch during the season, and then you have these games that Coach Man made. It's famous, right? They
Right.
have Man, and even have Man Bowl now, where you can compete playing video games in Man to win.
Nice.
But for whatever reason, like all year long, it's football, everything for me, and that to me is like I say, you're not addicted to football, you're addicted to tennis or to
Yeah.
pickleball, right?
Right.
I'm addicted to something else because you are who you are, I am who I am. That means that for every single one of us, there's something out there that will align with you and will get you to the flow state.
Oh yeah.
You just have to understand who you are, figure out that first, then find the thing that aligns with you as that
And then run
individual,
downhill.
and you will get flow state. So to me, it's it's like it's a must.
It is.
It's a
It's,
must.
it's it is it is an essential human experience. This is something that I think is unique to us. Well, no, I don't think that's true actually, because beavers, I think, probably in their own little flow state. I think it's something that actually, if anything, now that I just said that, I think it's actually oddly we have to find flow state. I think other animals just are in a flow state almost all the time, right?
Right.
Like,
The reason
like
why this is the reason why I agree with that is because we are the only one with the forebrain, with
right.
which is the which is the rider
We
on
can
the
get
elephant,
distracted.
right?
Right.
That basically changes directions and get distracted. Like you said, they get
Right.
distracted. The beaver, like it has only the subconscious brain, which is like, hey, I'm on autopilot, and they
Right.
go and figure it out. This is the reason why I can give you 10 things to do. Hey, Chris, call me, blah blah blah. Right? You say, yeah, yeah. Your forebrain, your system two is understanding, but
Right.
your elephant doesn't. When your elephant is doing something, it doesn't let go of the control back to the rider to say, "Oh, I got a meeting with True. I got to go do blah blah." This
Right.
is why when you're in a flow state, your subconscious is actually doing the work.
It shuts off. Yeah, that's exactly what it
It,
is.
it shuts off the control from the rider, so your
Right.
forebrain doesn't. So most animals they don't have the forebrain, the guy, the
Right.
rider on top. Therefore, it cannot be distracted for the most part. They just has this
They
homing,
just do what they do.
homing, right? Automatically, hey, I need to go there. I feel like I need to be there, and it drives them automatically. For us, we have two brains. One, they will give control back and forth to them. But when you're in a flow state, right? You can't the rider can't just tap on elephant, hey, give me back the control, give me back the rein, I'm gonna pull you a different direction. They won't let you do it.
Do you remember the artist's journey when he talked about like the ticket to Eden? We talked about, like I think flow state is the ticket to Eden. Like it's like perfect. It's like, like it's exactly what you were just talking about. It's like animals get to be in Eden all the time, because this is what they do. Like, and this is how they are. They don't have to worry. Like our dumbasses are blessed with the ability to explore out of Eden for dumb whatever reasons, and then we come back. Then we could, but we
I
can
mean,
figure out how to
everything
get
has
back,
its pros and cons, right? Because I say, you give a gun to an individual, right? I mean, it could be bad, it could be good. You give a forebrain to an individual, it could be bad or good. It's just like everything has a pros and has a con, because have a dark side and a positive side. So that's the thing, is you have to take both. You can't just take one and not have another. That doesn't work in real life. So when you have this power, right? I give you a gun, right? That's power. There's also, it's a liability.
Be stupid,
right?
You could definitely be a dipshit with it,
That's what I'm saying. Is a lot of people, right? They have this power, this forebrain, this extra brain that sits on top of the gigantic subconscious brain, system one, and they do all stupid shit, right? And they make their life miserable. But if they just shut off, if they shut off their forebrain, right? They're probably gonna have an easier life, because your automatic system runs everything. This is why last time you say ignorance is bliss, right? Sometimes, because you don't have to give it to the rider, the system, the forebrain, to think about all this shit, and then say, hey, life is like, hey, I don't have to worry about stuff.
Right.
But then, your forebrain starts taking over, and then you worry about all stuff. Like you say, hey, who put a gun to your head and make you run a marathon?
No one.
No one, but you did.
I mean, this is what we chose, right?
You put on the intangible gun to your head, and you say, hey, you shall make this a marathon, and you shall ride 365 reflections and blah blah blah. And you get to the point, shit, I can't take this anymore. It's too much.
Agreed. All right. Well, all right. So I have to say, I always find a great flow state usually when we have conversations, which is why I think you and I both love to do this. That said, sadly, I have to get out of this flow state because I have a phone call that I need to make back to somebody else that I have to do for this other shit that's going on right now. That's the negative flow state that's pulling me out of it, right? So I have to put a pin on this one tonight because I have something I got to go do right now. But sadly, this is always a good positive flow state that going downhill, and I've always I think the most important thing about this conversation every night for me is it gives me energy. I was dragging ass before I came into this conversation because I've been on a call since, well, pretty much all day, but I've been on a literal call since like 5 o'clock, up until, besides maybe a quick 30-minute break where I took some food, I ate some food and hung out with my child for a little bit, and then jump back on
Poor
this.
guy.
Yeah, right. Well, I was with him all day actually because he was.
Were you with him?
Yeah, no, he was home from school.
You were with them, but were you with them?
Oh, mentally, no, I was not. No, I was working side by side with him all day long. Matter of fact, sadly, I put him into his own little flow state, which is Mickey Mouse, the Mickey Mouse Funhouse, and he just goes,
yeah.
It's like disturbing. Like you literally be going right next to him and be like, Luca, and you're like, and he's like, huh? What? Like,
yes,
like, what?
yes.
Like,
that's exactly what a flow state is. So if you guys don't know what it is, that's
a kid watching Mickey Mouse is what it is, man. Anyway, but I gotta jump. So that was fun as always. A question we could leave for everybody is what do you find when you're performing activities where you find flow? So what are you discovering, when you're doing that stuff, right? For me, it was discovering my daughter. So I don't know if there's anything that you guys find. So something to think about. Thanks for joining, and we will see you tomorrow night for another fun episode. And we are only now 10 away.
10 away.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we'll have more.
Yeah, we have more. Yeah.
All right,
Awesome.
guys.
See ya.
See ya. Night.